Yo. All right, we're live on YouTube as well. What's up? We are going to do some more Boot.dev. Should be live. Okay. It looks like we are not. Hold up. Okay. It created... No, we are live. Are we live or not? We are. Okay. Okay. I guess it took a second for it to register on YouTube. All right. Let me go ahead and toss this in Discord. And we'll probably get rolling in about 5 minutes or so. Oops. Wrong channel. I'm gonna be honest. I'm so tired today. I didn't get much sleep. I don't know how long I'm gonna do this for, but I want to make a little bit of progress. So there it is. Boom. Publish and confirm. All right. Everything looks good. Let's close some tabs. All right, let's get started in about 30 seconds. All right, so we are here. We are making some decent progress. We have function, scope, testing, and debugging, computing, comparisons, loops. Okay. What I think I'm going to do is speed through this a little bit more. A lot of this is pretty basic, and we're just kind of getting exposed to Python syntax. Let me change a couple things, and then we'll get rolling. Always forget. Okay, so titles are changed, and YouTube titles. Day 3. Okay, cool. Let's do it. All right. And again, so 2 things. You can hear music on Twitch. I'm live streaming on Twitch and YouTube. You can hear music on Twitch. If you don't want music, you could listen on YouTube, play your own music. And then I probably will go for about an hour today, but I will be live 4 p.m. tomorrow. I think I'm going to stick with the 4 p.m. Central Times. They're working really well for me. So let's make this a normal thing. We have a lot to go through. But I did want to take a look at a couple of the upcoming ones. Learn shells and terminals. I'm looking forward to this. I wonder how basic it is. It's probably, fairly basic, but and I can always get a little bit more comfortable with Git. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then so this is going to be a Python app. This is going to be our very first app that we're going to be building with Python. Whoa. Yunjay.
Hope you've been well.
That was loud. Yunjay, yo, thanks so much for the resub, man. Hell yeah. 4 months. Yeah, I've been pretty good. Tired today, but I've been pretty good. And I'm looking forward to the new year as well. Things are, I don't know, they're looking pretty good going into the new year. So yeah, life's good. How are you? Yeah, we're learning Python. We are learning Python. Someone said that this section was a bit tougher, I think, or build a static site generator. I think both of these. Oh, cool. We get the decorators. Can always get more comfortable with that. Closures. Okay, closure, recursion. That's always tough. All right. All right, let's go. Enter course. And I will... I always forget to do a bunch of stuff. I will put this as a pin message. And pin this. And then I'll kind of just bounce back and forth between chat and the lessons, just like I normally do. I think that's working well. Doing well. Got another internship this time working with building custom large language models. Yo, that's awesome, man. That sounds fun. Starts in January. Congrats. Happy to hear things have been well in my absence. They have, man. They have. I think in the new year, I'm going to start bringing Twitch Sprout back with live coding, but I kind of just have been enjoying coding it on the side. Just like chilling out at night. It's like yeah. So I will probably start live coding the project work going into the new year, but I probably won't live stream that for a little bit. All right, let's dive in. Multiple return values. A function can return more than one value by separating them with commas. Can return more than one. Wow. Okay. That now we're definitely different than JavaScript. Receiving multiple values. When calling a function that returns multiple values, you can assign them to multiple variables. When cast ice blast is called, it returns two values. The first value is assigned to damage, and the second value is assigned to mana. Just like a function inputs, it's order of the values that matters, not the variable names. We could just as easily call the variables 1 and 2. Okay. So what if a function returns two values, but you only want one back? That said, descriptive variable names make your code easy to understand, so use them. What happened to the variables? The damage and new mana variables from cast ice blast function body only exists inside... Wow, this song is distracting when I am reading. The damage and new mana variables from cast ice blast function body only exist inside of the function. They can't be used outside of the function. We'll explain that more later when we talk about scope. Complete the become warrior function. It accepts 3 inputs. First name, last name, and a power integer. It should return 2 values, a title string and a new power. Create the title using F strings. Okay. Combine first and last name with a warrior in this format. Create the... Okay. Let me read... I feel like none of this is registering. I am so tired. Complete the become warrior function. It accepts 3 inputs. First, last name, and a power integer. It should return 2 values, a title string and a new power integer. So create the title using F strings. Combine first and last name with a warrior in this format. First, last name, warrior, the warrior. Okay. And then to return 2 values, we separate it by a comma. Okay. Become warriors. So we return... So it looks... like we don't have to print anything off. We literally are just creating the function. Okay, so first, It said create it with an F string. So we should do, wait, create the title using F strings. Isn't the F string, like I remember like print F like that. So when we want to return something, we're returning this, right? Create the new power value that is equal to the input power plus 1. Let me look at this. Print, print, print. It's all using print, right? Okay. So we have to return. We're not going to return print, right? Like we're printing it here. Damage. I'm just going to... Like, can we do this? Is this just an F string? Like outside of print? I'm assuming, right? Why wouldn't it be? We'll try it out. First name, last name. The warrior, comma, and then power plus 1. Baggins, the warrior is a power level of 6, of 11, 5, okay. Power level of 9,000. Did I read this correctly? Are we good? Create the new power value that is equal to the input power plus 1. Return both title and new power. Let's submit it. Cool. We got it. I guess, yeah. I mean, this is literally... I guess I thought the F would be relevant to the print command, right? Like it was an argument we were passing in. And I just made a false assumption with that. Okay, cool. So... it seems like it's more conventional to do this. I don't know if it's conventional, but instead of like doing first name plus last name with a space, actually this would be a lot cleaner. Probably be using this a lot. Okay, cool. What's up, Jessa? How you doing? It's been a while. How have you been? What's up, Retro? How's the learning going? Pretty good. I feel like today, I'm not going to make too much progress today. I'm very, very tired, but overall, like it's day 3. It's going pretty good. And I honestly do think I like JavaScript more than Python so far, but we are so early in. Sometimes like I feel like I need to give myself a lot more time to just work with other languages and just let myself get more comfortable with them and then, kind of decide if I like that language or not. I'm wondering if I'm making like too early of assumptions. What's up, Dewey? Happy Thursday to you as well. How are you doing? What's up, Anonymous? What's your opinion on Python? Yeah, that's pretty much my opinion. I don't mind the indentation. I thought I'd hate it. I don't mind it for scope. Pretty similar to JavaScript. But I think I need to get a little bit further into it. I do like JavaScript more, though. I like the syntax more. But again, it could just be, because I've used it for so long. Stoked for you and your decision to switch sides. It sounds like it's really well thought out. It was. I was thinking about it for a while. And I remember that episode with Lane and talking with him, and like, man, there are good front end developers, but there are more people on the back end that want to be really good software engineers. And I don't know. Like it feels like a culture difference. Like so many arguments that have come from front end are people that continue to justify like not becoming a good developer, like using abstractions, and as long as it gets the job done, who cares? And I think that just entirely turned me off from front end. Just got off work, so I'm queuing for a Dota 2 game with a friend, so we'll lurk for now. Best of luck with Boot.dev. Thank you. I appreciate that, Yunjay. Thank you. Enjoy Dota 2. I'm a big fan of Heroes. I haven't played it in a while, but I do like Heroes. Seems like front end was sold a lot by social media as a chill and easy get wealthy thing. Maybe that's why. Yes, yeah. And a lot of it is just like a lot of the new people coming into the industry. Yeah, I think front end developers are like more sensitive types, a little bit, where like well, I guess like they're so self-critical that it's hard to give them feedback sometimes too. I think backend software, well, I don't know. You get fragile backend software engineers, but it just seems like more backend developers want to grow. I don't know. Anyways, I'm enjoying the problems that I saw with backend, so I'm going to keep doubling down. So interesting because even as someone just beginning to learn, I got those vibes. You solidified that initial instinct. I'm glad you could be honest about it with yourself and everyone. That's awesome. I'm glad I was able to solidify that with you. It's fun to be a good developer. It's fun to want to be a good developer. It's fun to want to just continue to learn things and grow constantly. Like, it becomes really fun. It's kind of intimidating in the beginning, and it can feel overwhelming in the beginning, but once you kind of just accept that you're going to know extremely little throughout your entire, like, once you accept, like, the more you learn, the more you're going to realize how little you know, and that's awesome, that you don't have to stagnate, like, and you accept that. It's freeing. What new problems have you run into recently? Problems with what? What do you mean? For now, guys are like graphic designers with a higher IQ to me. Higher IQ than designers? Backend guys are more theoretical. I don't know. I met some pretty smart designers. I don't know about that. All right, so we pass. Let's go on to the next section. Parameters versus arguments. Parameters are the names used for inputs when defining a function. Arguments are the values of the inputs supplied when a function is called. And a lot of people get this switched up. I messed this up quite a bit for like years. To reiterate, arguments are the actual values that go into the function, such as 42, the Dark Knight, or true. Parameters are the names we use in the function definition to refer to those values, which at the time of the writing the function can be whatever we like. That said, this is all semantics, and frankly, developers are really lazy with those definitions. Yes, they are. Yep. You'll often hear the words arguments and parameters used interchangeably. The values that are passed into the function by the caller. Arguments. Blank are the inputs specified by the function definition. Parameters. Oh, what are backend problems? I mean, I'm kind of just working on Twitch Sprout, doing a little bit of front end work. I don't think I've encountered any backend problems. We just started Boot.dev on Monday, and I'm on the front end side of Twitch Sprout. But I would say like the last backend problem we ran into with Twitch Sprout really. I need to split up some of the functionality with the retention stuff. And my retention data is inefficient. I think I want to switch over to using set. And I think it's going to cut down on the speed a little bit, but really it's like readability and speed on the back end that I know I can improve. But readability needs to come first. I feel like every time I return to that function, or both of those functions, it's just, I just need to split it up. All right, so we are here, default values. In Python, you can specify a default value for a function argument. It's nice for when a function has arguments that are optional. You as a function definer can specify a specific default value in case a caller doesn't provide one. Default value is created by using the assignment operator in the function signature. Okay. If the second parameter is omitted, the default there value will be used in its place, as you may have guessed, for the structure to work. Optional arguments, the one with defaults, must come after all the required arguments. Okay. Makes sense. Complete the get punched and get slashed functions. They should both... like, honestly, don't do this. Like, put comments where I'm going to write the function, but, like, let me write it out. You know? Like, get practice stuff. Get punched. Because you know what I'm going to forget? So then I get to look at the arguments. So get punched. Image variable. Get punched is going to be... My headset just reset. Of course it did. It's going to be health. Armor. Oh, it's probably the same thing. Okay. Why does my headset reset? It's so weird. Okay. So takes two integers, health and armor, set armor to a default of 0. I guess for both. Create a damage variable equal to 50 minus the armor. Okay, so get punch, create a damage variable equal to 50 minus the armor. The armor reduces the damage. Create a new health variable equal to the input of health minus damage. And then return new health. Damage equals to 100. Get slashed minus armor. New health equals health minus damage. And return new health. Health after slash. Oh, here we go. 400, armor 5. 50 minus 5. Okay. No armor. Where does it say no armor? Okay, let's submit. Let's go. Archmage, congratulations on making it to the end of the functions chapter. Let's go. What are your thoughts on LeetCode versus take-home projects and interviews? In my country, we don't really use LeetCode, but working in the US right now, like, just stop using the word LeetCode. I think it just confuses people. Like, let's say data structures and algorithm challenges or take-home projects. Like, the word LeetCode is overused. Like, it's a specific website that will have a lot of data structures and algorithm type challenges, but like, I think people keep, like, they just shove everything into the category of LeetCode, and I think it's confusing for people. But I think I'm much more of a fan of coding challenges because I don't like take home projects take time. I did a 5-hour project for an interview, and I don't think I'll ever do that again unless it's like like a very reputable company. Like if I'm applying for something like Stripe or Facebook or something like where I like is the competition is just going to be fierce. I'm a fan of coding challenges. Like just give me coding challenges. A lot of that I don't like kind of these weird obscure ones where it kind of like makes sense to try to memorize the type of algorithm. But a lot of those coding challenges are really going to test your fundamental knowledge. Don't shy away from that. Practice it. So I'm probably never going to do like a 5-hour take home challenge ever again. If it's going to be 3 hours, like they better be a damn good company to work for. In my opinion, I think I'm going to like cut it at 3, like 5, man, just to think that I actually did that 5-hour take home project. I don't know. I feel like sometimes companies just don't respect your time. Gotcha. I know you got a long reading list, but I recommend Domain-Driven Design when you're more free. Taught me a lot about how to approach software dev as a tool to solve real world problems. Domain-Driven Design. You know what? I could probably like, let me open up a Notion doc. Say books to read. Books to read. Books. We'll say software engineering books recommended to me. Domain-driven design. Thank you. DSA is more standardized and our quicker take-home projects can often be a huge time sink. Preference depends on the person. It does, for sure. And the time sink is the issue for me. Never again. I'm not doing it. Like, I know how to make money without a company. Took a long time to like figure that out. So I don't advise it to everyone. Like sometimes when you're new, you gotta just take some licks. I don't know what to tell you. The competition is fierce. You got to do what you got to do. But think of it like the way you should think about take-home projects is like if they're going to be like 5-hour plus take-home projects, like you're getting practice. When you're newer, that is probably worth your time. It's going to reinforce a lot of concepts, and it gives you something to work towards because sometimes people feel aimless when they're building stuff a little bit. If you're newer, like look at it as practice. Good music, by the way. So one of the hardest chapters in the Python course, though dictionaries are no walk in the park either. You probably already figured out that chests contain gems and items. Gems can buy items in the shop. Items help you earn achievements and XP. XP levels you up, and higher levels unlock new roles. So why should you care about your role? My guess is that you've earned... my guess is that you've earned enough XP to be an apprentice by now. You can see your role at the top right of your screen. When you hit 100, you'll unlock the Archmage role. It's kind of a big deal. When you hit Archmage, you'll have learned a ton, built many real-world projects, and should be starting your job search. You'll have unlocked all the private role-based chat channels in our Discord. You'll have immeasurable bragging rights and a horde of fake internet points. You get a physical Archmage coin in the mail as a token. Oh, that's cool. That is really cool. Cool. Which role is the highest? Archmage. Right? Let's go. This is an optional challenge. You can skip it. Nope, we're not skipping. An enemy's weapon can be cursed, so they don't deal as much damage. Complete the curse function. It accepts a weapon damage parameter and returns 2 values. Okay. The lesser curse damage... reduce the input weapon damage from 100% to 50%. The greater curse damage reduced the input weapon damage from 100% to 25%. Okay. Greater curse is more powerful than a lesser curse, so it reduces the damage more. It makes sense. Oh, really, Dewey? $100 gift card. That's nice. Hell yeah. Okay, so... Okay. So we return two values. Weapon damage from to 50%. Are we gonna do like... So that's going to be the lesser curse, the first one. And then weapon damage times 0.25. Let's go. Yeah, man, I think they stopped doing take-homes because engineers don't want to read it. It takes too much time on their end. Honestly, it does. Yeah. I would no. Then a coding challenge though. Like if I'm doing a code review on an application someone built, I feel like that's going to take less time than running them through coding challenges. What's up, Renee? How you doing? Enchant and attack. In Fantasy Quest, a weapon can be enchanted to do bonus damage. By the way, if you do, if you want to help out, please do like the YouTube live stream. It helps push it out in the algorithm. To everyone who has liked it already, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so weapon can be enchanted to do bonus damage. Complete the enchant and attack function. It creates a new enchanted name for a weapon and calculates how much damage the enchanted weapon will deal to a targeted enemy. It accepts 3 parameters: target health, damage, and weapon. Okay. It should do the following things in your function body. Calculate and store the enchanted damage. Like I'm actually gonna get rid of this. Like, stop doing that for me. So we're gonna do enchant and attack. It accepts 3 parameters: target, health, damage, and weapon. Oops. See, I'm gonna forget that colon too. Calculate and store the enchanted damage in a new variable. The enchanted damage should be the input of damage plus 10. Okay, so... damage plus 10. Calculate and store the new health in a new variable. The new health should be the input target health minus enchanted damage. Whoops. I like after damage. Man, I'm such a fan of explicit variable names. Health after taking damage equals target health minus enchanted damage. Create a new variable called enchanted weapon. It should be the input of weapon with the string enchanted added to the beginning of it. String enchanted, okay. Return the enchanted weapon and the new health in that order. Weapon. Alrighty. And then return enchanted weapon. With health after taking damage. The enchanted axe. All right, looks good. Let's submit it. Nope, we broke it. Let's figure out what we did wrong. Calculate and insert the enchanted damage as a new variable. Enchanted damage should be the input damage plus 10. Calculate and insert the new health in a new variable. Equals target. I wonder if it's like, can we do this? Yeah, we can. What if, do we have to do like an F string? The new health should be the input. Target health minus enchanted damage. Get a new variable called enchanted weapon. Oh, I misspelled it. Let's try it now. Let's go. Hell yeah. And we got a video. Dude, I'm telling you, my brain is like, I need more sleep tonight. I'm probably gonna go to bed a little bit earlier, but today is a day I gotta push myself a bit. I'm so tired. I think I'm getting sick too, if I'm being honest. I was coughing a lot earlier. Oh, I gotta follow up with that too. It looks like some of you are really liking Boot.dev so far. I keep seeing signups. Keep getting commissions. It's not a lot. It's like 1 every 2 days or something like that. Or 1 every day. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. I do highly recommend this. You know, and of course I'm going to be critical of it because I'm critical of all educational programs. I was that way with Scrimba as well. And I still am. You can definitely see that in my review video. But let me know how you guys like it if you do try it out. All right, so scope refers to where a variable or function name is available to be used. For example, when we create variables in a function, such as by giving names to our parameters, that data is not available outside of that function. When the subtract function is called, we assign 5 to the variable x, but x only exists in the code within the subtract function. We try to print x outside of the function, then we won't get a result. In fact, we'll get a big fat error. Assignment, find the bug in the code on line 10. We're using variable names from the wrong scope. Fix it. This video mentions for loops and lists to prepare for them later. Okay. We will take a look. So what is it? Modifier. My level. Print. Wait, where's the bug? Where are we using like modifier level? That's what I'm assuming. Don't touch above this line, the max health. Oh, here? Oh. My modifier and my level. All right. Let's go. Let's watch the video. Well, let's submit it. Nice. I wonder how many chests we can get. We keep stacking them up. I don't know if I'll ever open this, if I'm being honest with you. Let's go ahead and turn off the music. We're going to dive into the video. Oh, I forgot to port the sound over.
One of the most confusing things when you're learning Python, one of the most confusing things that can happen is you declare a variable, later you go to use it, and then Python complains that the variable was never defined. That's usually because you're mixing up your variable scope. Let's talk about it. Let's start with some code. I'm going to kind of visually just draw out some code.
I think it's a bit off. Let me see if I can adjust something so the audio matches the video. We're going to go video capture device. We're going to switch to direct sound.
Here on the right side of the screen. So let's say we have a variable named x, and I'll just set x
closer
to 5. Now, this code is not within a function, so this variable x is going to exist within the global scope. And let me draw that global scope over here as a big box. Okay, so this is the global scope, and inside of it we have x is equal to 5. Global scope is pretty easy to understand. If any variable exists in the global scope, then it's going to be accessible everywhere within the program. In Python, scope is based on functions. So to get another example of a new scope, we need to define a function. Let's define a function f. We'll just name it f. And let's say that within f, we define a new variable called y, and we'll just set it equal to 10. All right, so we've indented now. We are inside of the function f, and we've created y. Well, y does not exist at the global layer. Instead, we're creating a new scope within the global scope. So this is the scope of f. And inside of that, we've created the variable y. So what this means is y is only accessible within the scope of f. Okay, so down here, I could, for example, print y, and that would work just fine because I'm still within the function f. What I could not do is come out here into the global scope and print y. This will break, right? Inside of the global scope, we do not have access to y. Y is only available within the blue box. But, interestingly, x is, right? We could here do print x, and this would work because x is in the parent scope, in the global scope, and so it still exists within f, if that makes sense. So you can move downwards, but you can't move upwards. You can go from parent scopes to child scopes, but you cannot go from child scopes to parent scopes. Let's do another example. Let's say we define another function g, and we define this function at the global level again. Okay, so I've dedented back to the same kind of level as x equals 5 and the f definition. And here we'll create a new variable called z and set it equal to 20. Okay, so where does this scope exist visually? I want to pause for just a second and let you think about it. So G does not exist within F.
We're too slow.
It's its own scope, but it does exist within the global scope. So G is going to be down here, and Z is a variable inside of G. So within G, we can access Z and X, but we cannot access Y. All right, one last example. We're going to define a function H, and we're going to define it within G. So let's do H here. And we'll create a new variable called A, set it equal to 1. Okay, now where is H going to live, right? H is going to live here inside of G. So within the H function, we can access A and Z and X, right? But we still can't.
You know, it'd be cool. An extension for an editor that allows you to draw in it, right? Because like writing this by hand, it's a little bit hard to read. So let's type the code out and then give me the ability to draw squares and diagrams on the side. I don't know if I'm sure an extension like that exists, but that would be cool.
Access Y. And within G, we can still only access X and Z. We don't have access to A or Y. So the idea is pretty simple, and hopefully now you kind of understand the difference between a parent and a child scope and how they relate to each other. Now I want to show you a quick quirk about the Python programming language that
I see the chat
necessarily
messages.
the same
I'll
with other
respond in a sec.
Okay, so I've written some code here. We've got this function getNames, and inside of it I've created an array or a list of 4 strings, right? Lane, Alan, Bob, and Jill. And then we are going to loop over each name in the list and create a new variable called x and set it equal to name. And then we're just going to print out x once the loop terminates. Now I want you to look at this code and think, what's going to happen here, right? What is x going to print? Let's go ahead and run the code. This will be Python main.py. We got Jill. Okay. So the interesting thing about Python is that even though x...
By the way, when someone says pause the video, please do pause it and think about it. I know a lot of people just skip it, and I'm skipping it because I'm tired and I don't care, but you shouldn't. I don't want to teach people bad habits. Like when you're learning, don't skip stuff when they say don't skip it. Or like when they give you like a task.
X was declared within a for loop. X is still available outside of that for loop. And that's because in Python, variables are scoped to their functions, just like we covered kind of visually, right? It's important to note that in Python, variables are not scoped to blocks like for loops or if statements, like they are in many other languages. In many other languages, this would throw an error and say X is not defined. I would need to say put the X in here, which would of course print it for every single one, or I might need to do something like declare X equals none up at the top, and then kind of overwrite the value within the loop. And the only other thing I'll say about this kind of weird quirk of Python is I wouldn't take advantage of it too much. It's a little weird.
I
frankly,
think I missed
that in Python,
what he said.
Variables are not scoped to blocks like for loops or if statements, like they are in.
Oh, okay. So in Python, they're not scoped. Why? So so conditionals and for loops, they're not scoped. I'm liking Python less now.
Many other languages. In many other languages, this would throw an error and say X is not defined. I would need to say put the X in here, which would of course print it for every single one, or I might need to do something like declare X equals none up at the top, and then kind of overwrite the value within the loop. And the only other thing I'll say about this kind of weird quirk of Python is I wouldn't take advantage of it too much. It's a little weird, frankly. You know, as a developer who has had experience in more languages than just Python, to declare a variable within a block and then access it outside of that block, even though you're in the same function. So I would recommend not doing this very often, right? Even though Python allows you to do it, I think it results in kind of some weird to read code. I hope this video has helped you understand scope in Python and even scope in other languages a little bit better. If you found it useful, please do like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out.
Cool. Well said. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. What do you guys think about that? Let's bring the music back. I enjoyed this course. Yeah, I am enjoying this course. I am. I don't think I'm liking Python that much. It's okay. It's very similar to JavaScript. I'm definitely not switching Twitch Sprout to Python, though. I can tell you that 100%. There's no way in hell I'd switch it to Python. Do you enjoy Python? It's just a personal preference of mine, but I don't like Python at all. I'm not enjoying it that much. Well, I don't hate it. I just like it less than JavaScript, right? So far. Again, we're in the beginning. But so far, I don't like it as much as JavaScript. Keep in mind, I actually like I like JavaScript. and I like TypeScript more. I do like JavaScript. I just hate the ecosystem. Like I think JavaScript is actually not a bad language to work with. I think TypeScript is better, but I don't hate the JavaScript, like the syntax and even some of the quirks with it. I just hate the ecosystem. You give me enough courage to continue again my journey in backend dev after being a front end dev for 7 years. Yo, let's go, man. Always was thinking that the whole front end is in a wrong way, but you made me thought to become vivid. Yeah, that's awesome, man. You know what I realized? I'm still getting comments on that video, like a lot of comments. It's like at 5,500 views, and it's like one of my most commented videos. That's crazy. But one thing I've realized is like, I think a lot of people have similar thoughts and similar frustrations with the front end world, even front end developers. Now, I did leave a pinned comment because that, like, you know, sometimes comments can get a bit rowdy. I'm like, I want to make it clear. I think front end developers still deserve tons of respect. Like, it's not an easy job. I think sometimes back end developers think that like their job is harder and they deserve more respect, and like they can put down front end developers. Like I don't hate front end developers at all. I have a lot of respect. I mean, I was a front end developer. I worked with them. Like I worked with really hardworking software engineers that were on the front end. But man, like I think even a lot of other people, once you like branch out of JavaScript, and the JavaScript ecosystem specifically, and you start looking at like subreddits and look at like of different programming languages, like you kind of just realize you lived in a bubble for a very long time. And there's just a better way of doing things sometimes. But I think a lot of people have shared my frustration with the front end, which is really cool to see. You know, I was kind of wondering like, am I just like some crazy person or like some bitter person just venting about front end, or like, I don't know. I was kind of curious how people would react with that video, but I think a lot of people share the same frustrations. Basically, he's saying try not to reassign values for variables not within the same context. Yeah, that's what he's saying. But yeah, we're just going over some exposure with we are in the scope. We're in chapter 4. I didn't even see that. Wait, are we? Yeah. Why is that not highlighted? Did I submitted this? Yeah. Let's go on. Hold up. What did we skip? Multiple parameters? We skipped some. JS helped me break through the barrier. Python didn't. This is when I was brand new. What barrier? JS world feels consumerist. Is that a weird word to use to describe it? What do you mean by that? I don't think I understand what you're getting at. People are always shopping. Can you elaborate on that? It's funny you say that, Don. After working with other languages, you realize JS is just another tool. People shouldn't have such a strong allegiance to a language. Yep. Or a framework. 100%. Yeah, I agree with that. They're just tools. There's a time and a place for everything. Yeah, I think Primogen kind of like instilled that in me. I was very resilient to that for a while. But I really think Primogen... when you watch Primogen the first time, if you watch him at the wrong time, he can come off like he belittles people for like learning a certain language or something like that. But like when you watch him for a long period of time, like he's a pretty humble person, and you notice he'll bash himself just like he bashes. He doesn't even bash other people. He bashes the languages, and yeah, people can feel bad when they kind of like hear a joke that, you know, shits on a developer that works with a certain language. But like he kind of like, if you watch him for a long time, he kind of just has this non-serious approach to it. It's kind of like a Family Guy or South Park, where they just bash everything, right? Just to kind of like teach people not to be so uptight and attached to their language and what they work with. And I think once you realize you don't have to be attached to it, I think it's a really good mindset to develop as a developer. That I think I started developing like last year, maybe even going into this year. But I think he's like, I would say he's like one of the big influencers that kind of like started making me consider jumping out of the JavaScript world and having a different perspective and not taking programming too seriously and stuff like that. Barrier as in I was finally able to feel like I could code. Oh, when I was starting, I never felt that way with Python. Definitely want to go back to brush up on it now that I'm generally more confident. Oh, really? Is it because like, I wonder why you think that is. Primogen is a legit dude. He knows what he's talking about. He's one hell of an engineer. Yeah, he's a good software engineer for sure. He is. Consumerist, as in it feels like everyone is pulling in this and that to do everything. A lot of off-the-shelf stuff. It's kind of like front end has just become piecing libraries together. It's just piecing a bunch of abstractions together and hoping they don't fail. And they're gonna fail. Like you keep bringing in more and more abstractions with more and more dependencies, and where you need, like, you hope that the maintainers keep up with the updates and they don't let it go. But even the process to update all of those libraries weekly is a pain in the ass. There's just so much you have to keep up with. It's not fun. It's not a fun part of programming. But yeah, front end has just become piecing as much as you possibly can because you think it's going to make your job easier together. Yeah, I don't know. Wait, you've only been developing a year? No, I said I stopped taking, like, my mindset has shifted as a developer starting last year. Yep, Go is going to be next. We're a ways away from Go. Learn other tools because you know what they say. If the only tool you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Yep. Yeah, I like that saying. 100% agree with it. What did I screw up with this? We need to calculate the total damage from a combo of 3 damaging attack. Complete the triple attack function that takes 3 numbers as its parameters. And returns a sum. The attacks, attack 1, attack 6, are already passed to 2 triple attack functions for you, so you do not need to use them directly in this function. Wait, is this not the solution? Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I got to see that orange. That's not remaining blue, or is that blue? It's like a navy blue, dark blue. All right, so we are on scope. I think this is a pretty good video. Scope's tricky. It took me a while to get comfortable with scope. Lurking while in the gym. What's up, my Mimi? Hell yeah. Glad you're in the gym, man. All right, let's solve this. Find a bug online. Did we solve this already? We solved this already. We're going to global scope. So far, we've been working in the global scope. That means that when we define a variable or a function, that name is accessible in every other place in our program, even within other functions. Because let's change how we are calculating our player stats. The only thing we should need to define globally is a character level, and then let our functions do the rest. Cool. Player level equals 4. Scope quiz. Does the get area of circle function have access to the pi variable? Yes. Pi variable is in global scope. Can the area variable inside the get area of circle function be accessed outside of the function? Tomatoes are a fruit. What? No, variables defined inside a function are not accessible outside of it. So it's conditionals and for loops where we got to watch out for. But yeah, I'm not writing anything where like we're just going to assume that we just like I'm just going to treat it like JavaScript scope. I'm not going to access variables inside of a loop outside of it. No way. I was on my wrong account. Now I'm lurking while in the gym. Oh. How many accounts do you have? Of course it's an anime picture. Of course it is. What's up, Zinka? How's the workout going? We're all actually just one person. What? You mean Zinka? Like, all of you are just Zinka? It's all of her accounts? I could see her doing something like that, to be honest. Okay, so unit tests. Up until this point, all the coding lessons you've completed have been testing you based on your code's console output, what's printed. For example, a lesson might expect your code in conjunction with the code we provide to print something like this. If your code prints that exact output, you pass. If it doesn't, you fail. A new type of lesson. Going forward, you'll encounter a new type of lesson, unit tests. Unit test is just an automated program that tests a small unit of your code, usually just a function or two. The editor will have tabs, the main py, containing your code, and the main py test file containing the unit test. These new unit test style lessons will test your code's functionality rather than its output. Our tests will call functions in your code with different arguments and expect certain return values. If your code returns the correct values, you pass. If it doesn't, you fail. There are two reasons for this change. It's more realistic. In the real world, you'll be writing unit tests and running them against your code to make sure it works as expected. You can run and debug your code with the print statements and leave those print statements in when you submit. Unlike the output-based lessons, you won't have to remove your print statements to pass. Maybe you should, though. I mean, no. Are you, like, teaching a bad habit of, like, leaving your print statements in? I don't know. Complete the total XP function. It accepts two integers as input, level, and XP to add. There are 100 XP per level. Total XP should convert the current level to XP. Let me read that again. You don't want to know how many accounts I have? Okay. Probably a lot. Yeah, totes. It is Zinka. Great. Got my next race on the 11th. Trying to get first again. Damn. Well, good luck. That's awesome. Yeah, it's coming up. You know what I need to do? I need to find, like, workout groups in my area. I gotta meet more people that love working out. For sure. Was that loud? Too loud for you guys? Because I turned up the system audio. Anyways, State Ace. Thanks so much for the sub on YouTube. Print statements and unit tests are appropriate because you want to be able to see outputs because you're staring at your terminal. In your unit, it's saying print statements in the function, not the unit tests. But console logs are not a common thing in JavaScript unit tests. That's not conventionally correct. Is that like a Python thing? Like you could be descriptive with what tests are passing, but you're not going to leave console logs and unit tests in the JavaScript world. Yeah, no problem. Let's see. Let's read this. There are 100 XP per level. Total XP should convert the current level to XP. Okay. So we're just multiplying it by 100. Yeah. Then add this current XP to the XP to add. Argument and return the player's total XP. Okay. If the player is level 1 and gains 100 XP, they have 200 total XP. The player is level 2 and gains 250 XP. They have a 450 total XP. Player, okay. Let's do that. So all we're... What does it say pass? We are returning the total. So we're just doing times 100, right? Guys, so I'm like reading this. I'm so tired. I'm reading this and I'm having to reread it in my mind again. I'm so nothing is registering. XP to add. Okay. Actual, we got a pass. We got a pass. Cool. All right, so cool. Now we're seeing some passing stuff. Leave our test cases. I like it. I do like the idea of separating this into a separate file. Like, I feel like there's a lot of information when it was just testing the output and you had some of the examples all below. All right, submit. Let's go. Prints aren't appropriate, in my opinion, for the unit test. Just write a test that checks for the value. Yeah, that's what I would assume. I don't know if it's different in Python. Yeah. I just don't know the Python world. But, like, it's fine if you're going to have print if you're testing things within your unit test, but eventually you want to scrap that. It's just extra noise you don't need when you're running automated tests over and over and over as you change your code. It's just way too much output. There's no reason for it. But I like to be very descriptive in the test, like what the tests specifically are testing for. If you're tired, then you should rest. I'm a big proponent of deliberate practice. Don't push yourself if you catch yourself reading simple things or rereading. Little Indian, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Welcome. By the way, Crafty Sheep, welcome, by the way. I don't know if I said that. No, I'm okay. I'm okay. I don't... Like, if I am, like, really sick, I'll rest. But you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad. I think it's okay to push yourself through. And I think it builds character. Builds good habits. If I need to reread something a second time, then I'll reread it a second time. If I'm not enjoying it because I'm feeling like crap so much, then yeah, I'll take a break. But I'm okay. I'm enjoying it. It's okay if I go a little bit slower today. I got to reread. That's okay. Go for a run. That'll wake you up. Yeah, yeah, it would. It's cold out too. If I went outside, you know what maybe I should go running outside. Not today, though. I'm not doing that. Nope. All right. 2 lesson types. Oh, yeah, I'm all for pushing through if you could do it. It's bad when people build bad habits. It's harder to unlearn something. That's why. It's harder to unlearn something. That's why. So are you saying, like, I'm learning something bad? If I'm having to reread. Is that what you're implying with that? Because I think a bad habit is, like, not pushing yourself through. I think it's a worse habit. I bet it's still, like, 70 to 80 degrees in Houston. Of course it is. What the hell? This is a kind of like imposter syndrome discussion. There's being kind to yourself, then there's using self-kindness to camouflage bad habits, attitudes. And are you implying that the self-kindness to camouflage bad habits and attitudes, that would be me resting instead of pushing through this? If you don't mind asking, would it be best to transition from front-end dev to full stack, coming from someone who has done front-end developer and designer for 10 years? So you've done it for 10 years. Would it be better? It depends on what you want to do. Do you want to go full stack? Like, I don't think anyone can answer that question for you. Like, what do you want to do? You can't like offload that question onto someone else. You got to figure that out. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go full stack? Is that something you think you would enjoy? Have you tried it? Have you been building more full stack applications? And, I would start thinking about those things. Feel free to give me more context, but yeah, I don't think anyone knows what you want to do. I say that because I used to do that to myself, thinking more hours equals better outcome. Yeah, and like, so I think, there's always extremes of that. I do think you can burn yourself out. But I'm nowhere close to that. I'm putting in like an hour and a half, 4 times a week to learn backend. I think I'm like under putting in effort, if anything. But I do appreciate like, looking out for people's mental health, but I am like, yeah, I can do significantly more. Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard question to answer. But yeah, feel free to give more context if you want us to go deeper with it. Self-awareness is always, yeah. Yep. Work in progress. Let's see. Optimize for the max number of high quality hours. I don't agree with that. Like, again, if you feel tired one day, I think it's good for you to push through that day. I think it's going to build character. It's going to build good work ethic. It's going to just build strong habits, and it's going to make you realize, like, I'm actually capable of this even on an off day. I think I just disagree with you, actually, Dewey. Like, we could talk about, like, putting way too many hours thinking that you're effectively learning and effectively growing. You could be being very inefficient with those hours, and just putting in time doesn't necessarily mean it's worth putting in all that time. But I think fundamentally I just disagree. I think there are plenty of days that you're going to have, plenty of shitty days, and you push through them. Glad I found your stream. Looks like a nice place. Yeah, what's up? How's it going? By the way, Twitch, how you guys doing over there? What are you guys up to? What are you guys working on? And anyone new to this stream, we are going to be doing this. I'm trying to do this Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're just making some progress with Boot.dev. Diving deeper and deeper into the backend. This is going to be a long-term thing. It's a pretty big platform. We got a lot of courses to go through, and I plan on going through almost all of them. I think we all know when it's getting too much. If you stop in self-care, this is masking a lack of grit, in my opinion. I agree. And I think a lot of people do lack grit, including me. The grit is still something I need to build up again. That has probably been the one thing holding me back with my business. I just built a few years worth of habits of like drinking on the weekends, eating, and just like not being productive and not pushing through a lot of the days where I didn't feel like it. I used to be someone who would never do anything like that. And all it took was a few years of just bad habits to kind of like that I've had to overcome over the last couple of years. I think we all know when it's, yeah. I think this is coming from me, who's a raging workaholic. Oh, gotcha. So I tend to go overboard ever since my boot camp days. Yeah, okay. I understand where it's coming from. Yeah, for sure. So it's kind of like just a reminder for yourself. But yeah, I am nowhere close to that. I'm good. I'm not getting burned out. meant if you, I actually like, again, I get burned out when I work less and I put in less effort. That's always been the case. I have never gotten burned out from overworking and dumping all of my hours into every single day when I actually enjoy what I'm doing. Like I really want that thing on the other side. If I feel like I'm forced to do it, like, you know, if you're grinding like 3 part-time jobs, you're like, I'm really getting nowhere in life. That sucks, right? But I've never gotten burned out from putting too many hours into something I enjoy and I want. But that's personally me, which I love the coding bootcamp days. Coding bootcamps are really interesting. Like full-time coding bootcamps, one awesome thing they did was they made you realize like how capable you are to actually put in a ton of work and how like what you can achieve if you do dump a tremendous amount of time into that, day in and day out. It made me realize I was a lot smarter than I thought I was. Made me realize I had a better work ethic than I thought I did. Meant if you stop at the first sign of a little negative feeling, you'll make excuses for having no grit. Yeah. I like to push myself as if Piccolo is calling me weak. Saiyan mentality, go even further beyond your limits. I love it. Hell yeah. Do you have like a Piccolo wall art or something like that to just like, you know, how he folds his arms? I could just see you like having that on your wall. Like anytime you don't feel like doing something, you just look at Piccolo. Oh, Piccolo's watching. Agreed with the Black Smurf 100% as the guiltiest person alive. Think we often give the advice we want to hear ourselves. Yeah, that's true. Reference is top notch. Is it possible for someone to be a software engineer with no BA or MS in computer science? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you're talking to a lot of them. A lot of software engineers here have become software engineers through alternative means, not a college degree. 9,000%. No, this is great. Less effort creates more burnout because less effort means fewer personal wins, and fewer personal wins means stagnation. The school, yeah, that's what it is. It's stagnation. Stagnation leads to burnout. Yes, ever since I learned how to code and made it to the other side, I feel like I can learn literally anything I want to. Yeah. That's another thing that I think is really cool to unlock with software engineering. It's like, man, you realize like there's no longer a ceiling. Like if you ever created a limit for yourself, that limit starts getting erased. Because software engineering, it takes a lot of time. There's a lot to learn. But the better software engineer you become, the more you realize like how capable you are given the time to learn it. Like you can almost go into any profession that you want, right? Like if you really want that profession, it's just like, oh, because like software engineering, you got to really spend a lot of time with education, and you have to rewire how you even see education and how you treat your learning process. Because a lot of software engineers become really good software engineers by alternative means, in looking up stuff, being curious, and breaking out of this, like, learn something, remember it long enough, test it, and then, like, I pass. I get a golden star. Like, if you want to be a good software engineer, you have to break out of that mold. And when you break out of that mold and you learn things that you're actually curious and you enjoy, you grow from that. You realize, I can do this with any subject. And that's really cool. And, like, I think software engineering even made, like, history fun for me. And it made a ton of stuff that, like, I would fall asleep to in school fun. It's like, now I'm curious. Learning is fun when you're curious. Which is why I totally support, and I know the type of people that become this, but, like, I totally support people that go the alternative path, because they're going to become really good software engineers one day. Awesome to hear that consistent streaming schedule, new to Python, and backend overall. Yeah. So a lot of the backend that I built is mainly with Node.js. I'm using Nest, not Next, and I'm loving it, actually. I do like Nest. But I'm pretty new. I'm finally I want to get a solid foundation with backend, which I don't think I have. So we are starting with Python. Was it my experience to hit a lot of walls learning? It wasn't my experience. Did hit a lot of walls learning more difficult topics. Yeah, I mean, I've hit walls too, but you overcame them, right? You know? I need that Piccolo poster for sure. Everyone plays on the same level playing field. That's 24 hours a day. If someone else can do it, so can you. Very true. Yep. Yeah, it's a good thing to remember. JS ecosystem creates burnout. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, it definitely didn't for me. I can understand how it does for other people. So it's no longer a question of if you can do it. It's rather whether or not you want to, 100%, because you're going to have to give up certain things for others. Yes. Love the topic. It's a good topic. We have good conversations here. Other thing I like doing is looking at really old projects, because when you actually see how much you've improved or how much better you've gotten, you can't feel stagnant. Yep. I think a lot of people should take that advice. I think it helps, especially when you're feeling down and you feel like you're not growing. And that happens a lot in the self-taught world. Do you think that a person can become really good back-end developer only with JavaScript? Yes. Yes, I do. Not with Express. Can you become a good... you should probably expand past JavaScript. You're going to become a better developer. But, can you become a good enough developer to, be hireable and work on the back end and Node.js for the rest of your life? 100%. Are you going to become a better backend developer by learning different ways of doing things? Yes. I'm going to tell you guys something, and I think I'm still going back and forth in my mind whether I'm going to commit to this. I might say fuck it to React and learn Angular on the front end for Twitch Sprout. I know Angular is pretty similar to Nest, and I'm curious about Angular. I know it gets a bad rap, but it only gets a bad rap among front-end developers who love React. I might try Angular. Some of those walls still stay strong, even being quite comfortable with other things and at my job. Some of these walls still stay strong. But you got to find a way past that. Can't just let it be a wall. Find a way past that. Don't give up that easily. Angular is honestly okay. Yeah, I honestly don't know. And I would rather just try it out, and then maybe I'll hate it once I use it. And I'm just in a phase of I just want to try stuff. That's what I want to do. I want to try building with more tools. I was also a mediocre student until I went to coding boot camp. It definitely unlocked my learning potential. Yeah, Zinka, me too. Me too. I felt like I was I wasn't even mediocre. I was a terrible student. I barely passed high school. I barely passed college. I still remember sitting in the library, and it was 99 or probably 90. So I was sitting in the library till 2 a.m. It was pretty packed. Almost all Asian students in the library. They work very hard. And I remember just studying Japanese, fearing that I was going to fail out of college because I could not pass Japanese. I barely made it through college. I'm still surprised I passed. I was a terrible student. I didn't like to learn. I didn't like to learn all the way up until my coding bootcamp. I mean, I kind of like to learn. I was learning self-taught stuff, but I didn't really build good habits of learning until the coding bootcamp experience, which is why I definitely never regret it. It's why to this day, coding bootcamps can still, as long as you're willing to supplement afterwards, they can still, like, some people just need a kick in the ass and like completely reshift how they approach learning and how they even just their confidence levels in themselves and what they're capable of. Heard some people that Nest is the pivot to Spring Boot. Oh, yeah. I hear it is. I hear it's pretty similar. Angular is really, really cool. Honestly, I want to learn it. I like the separation with Nest. I like the way it does things. I think Nest is the first framework that got me thinking that maybe I want to be a backend developer. Like, I did not enjoy backend with Express. I just didn't. Just that those roles are few and far in between, plus a lot of competition. With the Node.js, or... Hold on. Yeah, I agree with Dewey on that one. Angular is very architecture-oriented, and I like the way it handled dependency injection. Very similar looking to Nest. Don't have too much experience actually building with it, but it looks awesome. If I like Nest, I feel like, yeah, if you like Nest, you should try Angular. I don't know. One thing I was really bad with, again, another reason I didn't, like, I barely passed Japanese, and I think I only passed because the instructor, because I was in her office like every day, like retaking quizzes and stuff like that. She saw the effort that I was putting in, but I never remembered kanji. Hiragana, yes. Kanji, no. Or hiragana and katakana, like I was pretty comfortable, but kanji, nope. Did you go to a boot camp after college? No. I became an aquatics director. So I got into aquatics. I started teaching swim lessons. And then I became an aquatics director. I got a position at Hastings Lake YMCA, really small YMCA, but a beautiful pool. Is like a kind of looked like a cabin, had a cabin feel to it. And then I quit that and then spent another like 2 years or so learning to code. But I went to college for psychology, then became aquatics director and did a bunch of aquatic stuff. And then went to coding boot camp when I was almost ready to give up with a self-taught path. And then I got a job 6 weeks later. You think I'm a scene, but you took Japanese... A scene? What's a scene? A weeb. A weeb, but you took Japanese... I was a weeb, yeah. Yeah, I was a weeb, for sure. I loved anime. That's why it's like... I'm never serious when I use words like weeb, stuff like that. I was definitely a weeb. Konnichiwa. What's up, Northern Champ? How you doing? Opposite to me, I learned Chinese, so reading Japanese is patchy. Ah, okay, but makes no sense to me as a Chinese speaker, really. Past tense loved anime. Yeah, I just don't watch it anymore. You know what I've been thinking about doing? Is going back and watching Full Metal Alchemist. I am not a furry. Get that crap out of here, Zinka. Let's see. Oh, it's my opinion after learning it. I was a terrible student too. Okay, so you just think it's okay. You don't really like it that much. You're just like, it's all right. Surprised that, like, I have 3 diplomas. Why are you surprised? What was your favorite anime that you watched? Probably Full Metal Alchemist. It's a good song. I don't think this is part of my playlist, is it? I might add this. Oh, no, it is. Yeah, it's a good song. Fair, I don't have the time while I'm building an app. Yeah, that's... Like, I do watch Netflix, but I'm getting bored. Like, I keep rewatching stuff. Like Peaky Blinders, I'll probably rewatch that soon. But I don't really have any new series that I'm watching. I need to find something. What would you guys recommend? We'll go through this a little bit. Just finish this quiz. But I'm enjoying the chat. We could talk for a little bit longer. I'm thinking of watching Hello World one day. I've never heard of that. Is that like a... I get troll vibes from that message. Are you trolling? I've been watching Apple TV. Silo is good. And Severance. Silo is good. Several regulations which they believe are in place to protect them from a toxic and ruined world. That sounds good. It's on Apple TV. Apple TV is probably expensive, isn't it? Wheels on is practically Fallout. That I think I'd like Silo. Write it down. I'll look more into it. I don't want to get Apple TV. $10 a month? That's nothing. Freevee. I've never heard of that. I didn't think I will have this amount of diplomas, and I was a terrible student for computer programming. Oh, failing twice, but I made it through now. Okay. So you passed your finals, Anonymous? Like, did you pass all of your classes? Would you think ChatGPT is the replacement to Stack Overflow? I mean, is it bad to use ChatGPT as a tool for quick answers in programming? Pros, cons? Like, what? I think it's fine to replace Stack Overflow. I don't think you need to go to Stack Overflow as a developer. But, you know, the same issues come with, like, having a produced code. You shouldn't be copying and pasting that code. Like, you can use it to give you ideas. But I would, like, if you're going to replace Stack Overflow, do it better. Like, have it mentor you to the solution instead of giving you the solution, right? Give it that context. I don't think to be a good developer, you have to go to Stack Overflow, but Stack Overflow had its drawbacks and how people would use that information. So, like, you can create a better learning experience for yourself by just not replicating Stack Overflow, you know? Really? So they have good shows. Okay. I'll look into Apple TV. I wrote it down. Back to the learning something hard topic might be controversial, but I truly believe people who are good at ranked competitive video games have the same traits as a great self-taught software dev. I don't think that's controversial. I think anyone who gets really good at their craft can be a really good self-taught dev. Like, if you have a previous industry where you wanted to be the best, like, it's just about having the trait of, like, with whatever I'm doing, I want to do the best damn job I can with this. Like, I don't want to be mediocre. I think just not being a mediocre person makes you infinitely more capable of making the self-taught dev path work. And I think there are a lot of very mediocre, less ambitious people that are trying the self-taught path. You know, a lot of times it's to save money, that I just don't think they're going to make good devs in general. They refuse to be hard stuck. They figure out the different areas they need to improve and apply that. Yeah. They understand the loop of how to improve. Yeah. I finished medical school and I absolutely hate it. Education is free where I live. Okay, do you need a CS degree to find a job in today's market? I only have a bachelor's in medicine. Not in the US. I don't know where you're from, though. Sorry you went through a degree. You hate it. That sucks. This might be a huge question, but I keep wondering if I'm going deep enough with my learning. Is there an example off the top of your head that would demonstrate deep learning versus service level learning? I don't know. off the top of my head, it's like even promises, like with JavaScript. I think a lot of people will use promises and they'll even jump into using async await without ever being capable, or like they're capable if they practice it, but like without understanding what's happening with a promise. Right? Like how does it go about passing or rejecting something? Like not creating a custom promise for yourself and playing around with that. Could be another way. Or like, again, it's like being able to use map with React. A lot of people are jumping into React way too quickly. Their JavaScript skills are like, there are content creators that are learning, gaining more followers on Twitch that, you know, I'm not going to call any of them out, but like they keep leaning on chat to answer all their questions. They're not learning. And like they're trying to piece together something with React or whatever they're doing, but they don't really understand what they're writing and they don't remember it. They don't reinforce it because they're not critically thinking for themselves. But, you know, like taking the time to like dig deeper and do coding challenges that challenge your fundamentals are always a good use of time. Some people that just jump into React way too quickly will know to use map to be able to loop through things and spit out elements. But if you ask them to rewrite map, the function map, like they get lost. It's like, what do you mean rewrite it? Well, it's like, you know, just create a second version of map that you can use across all of your arrays and kind of write your own version of it. And then like you realize a lot of them don't even know about the prototype chain and how to do that. And so they get a little bit lost and so like you give them specific instructions. Like if I create a new array, I want this method to be available. And I want to be able to chain off of it. Literally, like off my new array, I want to type period and then the function of your name, and then I want to recreate it. Or I want to be able to use that on any array. And then a lot of people that when you give those instructions to them, they'll just create a random function. They don't know about the prototype chain, and they don't really think about like how map is working. They jump into a lot of the array methods that are really convenience methods. They're great to use, but they haven't built enough custom loops and they haven't like played around with the loops and done different things with them. And like a lot of people are not diving deep enough into these abstractions that you're using. And you're failing yourself with that. You did pass it. That's awesome and anonymous. No C's or D's this time. That's awesome. I was going to go with Disney Plus so I can finally watch Star Wars trilogy. I stopped keeping up with Star Wars a while back. I hear like some people are iffy about it with what it's become. Gen AI has led me on enough wild goose chases that it's never my first. Yeah. Yep. And I've dealt with that as well. I think it's been tremendously helpful with Nest. I don't think Nest is pretty complex. And there's a lot of stuff that's not covered in the docs. And it's been very helpful. Like it probably looked at the code, but it's been very helpful at identifying things within the framework and how to do things conventionally within that framework. That I'm a big fan of using AI to help me write things the right way with the new framework that I'm learning. I will probably use it for Angular. I'll probably use ChatGPT specifically for Angular. Not to write stuff for me, but like to learn. Okay, I feel relieved I dedicated multiple days to that and understood object prototypes. Very cool. Not limited to that, but I try to dedicate time to underlying concepts of abstractions. I think that's a good habit to build. But if you're starting out, anything is better than nothing. Order of importance, have a backend job, opportunities within that job. Anything is better than nothing. What do you mean? So if you're breaking in, just work on your butt off to get that first job. Opportunities will come. Oh, you're just responding to Lalo. Okay. You describe me. That's a great example, by the way. I'm actually going to go learn how to do that right now. I have an understanding of the prototype chain, but creating one myself, I did not know. Yeah, recreate those methods. Really cool. You know, like eventually you don't want to create every single method on strings and arrays and stuff like that. But like once in a while, just pick out a method, recreate it for fun. You're going to realize like there's some methods that are actually really hard to recreate. Like when you start recreating push, pop, unshift, and shift, you know, like some of those methods are really easy to recreate, and some like make you learn new things. You're like, oh, I thought I understood what was happening with this, but then you learn a little bit something new with arrays, maybe an extra property that you didn't know about that you can utilize. But some methods are like harder than you would think. One thing that tripped up when I ran students through Scrimba, I would do some exercises on the side, supplemental stuff, and there was a reduce. Reduce was a really tricky function for people. Reduce is a lot harder than you would think it would be to recreate that function. It's a really good practice. It's really good to practice rewriting reduce. Start with map. You know, start with something that might be a little bit easier, but I think it's just fun to try to recreate these. Like you do grow as a developer. You get better with JavaScript. You get better with programming when you do little exercises like that. Example next is literally the last thing you should use. Oh, use Gen AI for because it's changing so quickly. Gen AI won't indicate that it's giving a next 12 answer when you're on 15. That's fair. That's very fair. Then maybe that's something to watch out for with Angular too. Maybe I should be more cautious. Don, you inspire me to learn Python now. I'm just going to redo some DSA problems, then rewrite in Express Web Server and Flask. Nice. Hell yeah. Sounds like a fun time. It does. I think that's good for today. I don't think I'm going to go back into learning, to be honest. We had a good conversation. I think we return to learning tomorrow. I think I'm going to be live on Monday of next week. Definitely not going to be live on Tuesday. Not going to be live on Wednesday. I'm not live on Wednesdays. That's Christmas. And then I will probably be back on Thursday and Friday of next week. That's the goal. I enjoyed how excited you got when you read next is literally, yeah. That's exactly what I did. You're the best. Keep up the great work and happy holidays. Appreciate your wisdom, Sensei. Well, thanks for joining us. Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, it's good to see you again, too, Jessa. Hope to see you back. It's been a while, and hope you're doing well. Perfect timing. I'm done with my workout. Have a good night. All right, awesome. Nice. All right, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate you guys. I will be live tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central. We're going to pick this back up. And then, yeah, Christmas is coming. All right, take care.